So, hello guys, good evening, and welcome to your first session of data science. And in this video, we will be talking about the building blocks about R and R Studio. So, welcome to Privatic. This is me, Varun, your trainer, and we will be talking about the topic that we've just discussed. So, going forward, the agenda of the session would be to understand R and R Studio and to take a look at its environment and to kind of understand how R and R Studio work and what is it all about. All right. So in order to do that, now let me just take you to R Studio, guys. So this is your R Studio platform in which you have your screen divided into three parts, but well, that's not it. When you click here and you start working on an R script, you would be having your fourth screen. So the first screen that you're able to see here would be your script file in which you can do all kinds of operations. So now let us say I would want to check something like 10 plus 20 and I hit an enter or a control enter, I would be having my answer here. But this area which you're seeing, this is almost like a scratch pad. So now if I do 23 minus 50 and I hit an enter, it will give me an answer of minus 27 here. So this is how these applications work like. Okay, so now going forward, I here would be having the main title. Okay, I would be having my console here. This would be called as the environment, history, and the connections area. So now here, if I check out the environment, I do not have anything as of now, but then let us say I would want to store the values of my 10 and 20, the sum of 10 and 20 in F, and I hit an enter. Now we can see that my environment, which is the global variable, will be having a value of F with a value of 30 against it. All right. So this is the value of 10 plus 20 and it is stored here. All right. Then I would introduce you to the next tab, that is your history. And if you go into history here, you can check all what we have worked upon. All right, even the thing which you have worked in the console, or it could be the code that you have worked in your script file, they would all be saved here. So here I have my 10 plus 20, I then have my 23 minus 50, I have my 10 plus 20 which is stored into F. So every command would be saved, and if you want to execute it, you just have to click on enter here and it will give you the values, or it will show your values there. And then I have my connections tab. Well, connections tab is basically to see if your system is connected to any other system, or if your R Studio is connected to any other interface. And here, if you want to establish a connection, then you can come here and you can establish a connection from here. All right, now we don't want to talk about this. And then you have your fourth tab, which is this one, in which you have files, and then you have your plots, you have your next tab, which is packages, and then you have your help, and finally you have your viewer. So now talking about each of those, the first one is files, wherein you could adjust your your work environment. You could set your location using files. Here you have everything that is required for you. Then you have your plots, and using plots you would basically be able to visualize all your stats with regards to the graphs and plots in this tab. Then you have your packages. Well, this is the place where you would be having all the different kinds of libraries that are required for us to work on some basic to most complicated things. Like it could be linear regression, it could be, for example, here we have ggplot2. Well, this is a plot which or this is a, a library which is very vastly used if you would want to create something in plots or stats. Okay, so you're able to see that ggplot2 is grammar of graphics. All right, so that is a kind of library. So unless you do not have ggplot2 being used, you would not be able to create all kinds of plots. So that is the use of this library. All right, then you have help, wherein you would be able to check for any kind of thing you want. So let us say you want to check for linear regression, and whenever we want to work on linear regression, we generally do LM. LM is a linear model, okay, as you're able to see. Now this would give us a complete information with regards to linear model. I hope this is being understood. All right, so now that the linear model is here, we would be having entire description about it here. So here is my LM, that is linear model, and it will also teaches how to give the formula to the data, the subset, the weights, and everything. It will give us what should be the action on NA variables. So basically, it's like you have anything to work on, any kind of a functionality, it would be best if you come to the help here, check about it, and then go forward. So here you would be having the arguments within which, so arguments are basically the properties within a library or within a function. All right, so here we have formula, data, subset, weights, and different parameters. And then we have the theoretical part of it, which talks about how it works and what it does. Okay, like see here, a terms specification of the form first plus second indicates the term is first together. So basically you would be able to see different things about it. All right, so this is what it is. And then I have my values, wherein you can just write what value you want to enter. The object of class LM is a list containing of at least the following components. Now you can choose what all components you have. I mean, when you look at these, you would be knowing each and everything that is present or that is happening behind the screen. All right, so this is the place, the help tab is the place where you would be having most of the references. Then you have files, as so there's the location, plots, packages, help, and viewer. So here you can just take a view of whatever is the project that you are working on. So now this is a basic idea of the environment. Now the only difference between a lot of people have good confusion between understanding the first window, which is the script file, and the console file. Okay, so now if you want to just kind of understand the difference between them, the script file, or this part which we were talking about, is like the main source code. Everything that I would want to save and probably want to push it forward to the next stage from development to testing and go live phase, my script file would be gone or would be taken into consideration or execution. But then when we talk about how we want to work on it, or when we talk about where we would want to try executing it, it happens in the console tab. Okay, so here you would be able to check your results and you would be able to modify things as per your requirement. Okay, so this is a basic idea of the four screens that we have. Now you have different options on the top. Now the first thing is how to create a new file or how to start working on one. Whenever you would want to create a new file, you would go to save, you would go to file, and you can click on new file, and here you would be having a R script. So when you do that, it would open a new untitled file for you, and you should be able to save your information. And here I can just go ahead and save, or I can just type whatever I want. So for example, I do s plus x, and I would want to save this in y, and I hit an enter, and it says s not found. Okay, so fine, let us just kind of make this easy right now because we don't have yeah, we didn't insert anything. So now I would kind of want to do something like this, 4 plus 5, and I'll save it in y. So I hit an enter, and when I do this, it has now saved the value in y, and when I go to my environment, I can see that y has a value of 9. So the same would be now documented in history as well. Here it goes, 4 plus 5 equal to 9, and if you want to test it, you can just hit on enter. All right, and then it is saved again. So this is how it works. And once you're done with it, you can just hit on Control S. You can just click on the file, hit a Control S, and it will ask you where do you want to save this file. So you can give the path of it. I mean, wherever you would want to save, it could be your desktop or it could be any folder that you want. Just give it the name, save it in .r format, and I think you should be done. You are good to open it whenever you want it once again, right? So this is how you create a file, this is how you save a file, and this is how you understand the parts of the screen of this tool or this software. Now we have the next thing, that is, let's understand how do you work with some basic appearance things. So in order to do that, you have an option called as global settings within your tools tab. So this is my tools tab. I have my global options or global settings. I come here and I can basically go into the code. So here I can give different features like, I want it to be automatically completed, I do not want it for completion. I can check my appearance. I can use different colors from here. Right now, the color is modern, but you can go select chaos. And when you do an OK, you would see that things change. Okay. And different colors basically make it differently, they give a different feel on the whole. Then you have your pane layout, wherein here you could go and select what all you want, and it would keep all those for you. For example, now if you don't want the connections tab here, you can just go ahead and remove it. So it will just remove this for you once we are done and once we hit on the OK part. Even here, you don't want files, it's not required. You don't want help, you can just remove it. So now I don't want a viewer, so I'll remove it. So things like these can be, so viewer has to be available on the top or at the bottom. So we'll keep this, and now when I hit on OK, you can see that I do not have my connections here anymore. It's removed. All right. So guys, this is how things work for us. All right. This is how you can go to tools and you can look for different things. And then you have profile, you have debug. This is really good tool when you would want to start debugging your file. Then you have a build if this is not required. Then we have plots. You can save your plots in different formats like PDF. You can save them in JPG. So that is an option available from you for you from here. Then you have view. You can just zoom in, zoom out, or if you want to move the focus. This is these are the different things about the code. If you would want to reflow, comment, or if you would want to insert anything, or if you want to reindent lines, it can be used. And finally, this is basic thing. If you want to import something or export something or delete something or save something or rename something, you can use all these. Okay, now that we have understood the platform, let us just go ahead and see how do we kind of download it. So you can just go to your Google and type download RStudio for Windows. And when you do that, you should be having the first website, which is RStudio products. So here, when you go into it, you should be having a hell lot of options. Like, you can choose your version, and this is the one which I would suggest that you go into. You can just go here. This is the free version. So this is the release note, and this is the RStudio desktop that you have. All right, and it requires Windows 10, 8, or 7 with a 64-bit system. You can hit on this, and assuming that your system is not Windows, it's probably Linux or Mac or anything else, you have different links provided right at the bottom. You also have tarballs and zip files, and you have the source code also available here for you to just check it out. There are different versions available. If it is for a commercial one, or if it is AGPL, or if it is a commercial wherein you would require a pro server. In that case, you have different packages, but then we would be using a free RStudio desktop package that is provided for us by the team. All right. So when you click on this download, things should be starting for you, and you should be able to see that. And even when you do this, before doing before downloading your RStudio, I would request all of you to download R for Windows. And when you do this, you would be going to the CRAN software, and here, sorry, the CRAN website, and here you have something called as R for Windows. And when you do install R for the first time, you should be able to see a lot of things happening. All right, so this is what you have. This is how you would download, and these are the websites that is related. I would also ensure that you have the links of these websites posted right below the LMS video that you're watching, so that things would be easy for you to kind of upload or download for the first time if you're working on them. Now, when we work on R, most of the times a lot of people have queries about why do we have to use R, and is R really useful for us, and why not Python, and what are the differences between R and Python? Well, honestly, whenever we would want to talk about the differences between R and Python, I think it should not be compared. It's like going in a two-wheeler versus a four-wheeler. They both have their own purposes, and they both are they both can, though they can solve a lot of problems in common, they are generally taken when you have two different problem statements in the most generic use. For example, now let us assume that you would want to work on anything which is related to basic statistics. For example, let us say that you're working on linear regression, logistic regression, or anything like that. In that case, we would basically prefer using RStudio, because RStudio happens to be one of the best platform if you would want to work on statistics or statistical analysis. But then at the same time, let us say that you want to work on Python, then you can work on Python for linear regression and logistic regression as well. But if your project is something related to do with NLP, or something related to do which is above, what do we say, which is above general statistics, that is when we would want to go into a more simpler version of a tool, which is R. So R also boasts that it happens to be the best tool in terms of visualization for data analysis, and R also happens to be a great tool in order to work on EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. Well, when we talk about exploratory data analysis, R can be really very righteously used for things like plots, maps, stats. Like you have a heat map, you have vector plots, you have scatter plots, and you have a lot of other kinds of graphs also, which for which we can use R for. All right. So keeping all these things into consideration, I would really not want to compare R and Python platforms. Rather, I would say that it completely depends on the will and wish of the user or the developer about which he is comfortable with, or what is it that he would want to choose. But then, strictly speaking, R is a great tool for all your statistical analysis, or for all your, for basic EDA, for cleaning of your data, for visualizing your data. If you're really looking forward to use a tool, or something like R for such purposes, then I think there is no tool to beat RStudio. But if, as I said, if it is something like NLP or anything beyond, which is which R is capable of, then probably you should prefer Python. And also, this is something that need not be said. Python definitely has the highest number of integrations that can be done in the world, but still R has its own set of advantages, and R works, or R is suitable in its own ways to work on different things. So, with this note, my dear friends, I would want to tell you that there is really no big difference about the tool which you're using, because keeping in mind that we are all working, that we are all moving towards data science, I really, and also keeping in mind that data science is mostly to do with your general mathematics, I really don't see how one tool wins over another. Rather, I would say that whatever is the tool you use, the logic generally is bound not to change. So it completely depends on the will and wish of the user and his comfort zone about what he wants to use and how he wants to use. Right? So this is me, Varun Rao, logging out. And if you should have any queries, please feel free to contact us on the email IDs as mentioned, or on the phone number that's written here. And my team or I would get back to you at the earliest with the response in the form of a message, or probably we would reach out to you to help you out with your queries. Thanks a lot. I would see you around in session 2 with some more topics. Have a great day. This is me, Varun, logging out.